white, all anything, honey trap. So now, move toward a close. Stage one, course material, just like a regular course. Now we're going from 2006 to 2016. Actually, we're going to go backwards. I'm teaching because going back to I don't know when is not going to help people now. So we're going to deal with semi-modern times. Then stage two will be 1980 to 2005. That's when we have the CDs on snitches and all of that, 2005. Stage three will be 1966 to 1980. Now, technically, we've done all that already. We've already done that. These that are posted up, we've already taken care. We've already safeguarded ourselves. Safeguard ourselves means this. Years ago, when we started talking about this stuff real heavy, say like 2003, 4, and 5, we pointed at people, and if you did 30 seconds of research, you would know who we was talking about. Okay, now, anything anybody can do to me, number one, I'm not going to give them a chance. They just have to assassinate or shoot. Right? And that's what I tell them physically. I said, only way you're going to get rid of me is just shoot me in the head, because all other stuff, all the little tricks y'all pull, I said, number one, you ain't got nothing that I want. So you can't catch, you know, if you got to catch a fish or catch something in a trap, you got to have something. I say, you ain't got, I already got everything I want from Allah. You ain't got it. You can't give me, and it's true. They can't give nothing. That's why they tried hard with the money. They said, this nigga lacks money. So we'll take his money and make him mad. That's one of the main reasons we didn't stay here all this time. No. Number one, we done made a comeback. A setback ain't nothing but a setup for a comeback without nothing. Well, Islam. Without nothing. Can you imagine how good that feels? That they done knocked you off for all of your money a year ago, 11 months ago. Yeah, 11 months ago, something like that. 12 months. Yeah, 11 months ago. And you ain't even said nothing to nobody. All right, when we go out there, we'll start our legal routine now. When, technically, we done already proved ourselves what? That number one, it's just like a case. You know, most people get federal cases, they can't come back from federal cases usually. It's too tight. I don't know nobody hard to do. Most federal cases for Negroes is all over. Especially when they've been working the building so long. Okay. So we considered what they did like getting a case. But the only thing different, when they gave you a case in those days, they could put you in jail, they could do this, they could do that, right? Okay. You can't stop them from acting a fool, but them acting a fool has no effect. So you took the money. Now what? Now what? Right? You see what I mean? And we made a comeback on our own, out of isolation, with no help from nobody. And that comes from Allah, because Allah wanted us to not depend on anything but Him. That's what it was all about. The other thing is that I had to go forward, whether equipped lightly or heavily, and struggle and strive in the way of Allah with your goods and your property. Right? So that's what we did. That's what we're doing now. It's just nice and comfortable. We've been doing it for I don't know how long. We've been going, this is our going forward. This is our counteroffensive. The counteroffensive is already on a big road. We didn't already. That would be, what we've already done is sufficient to slap the urine out of them. It pointed at all the people, but from Stalingrad to Oakland, Zaid Shaka, we got to challenge all. Why are you in Oakland? You have to move. Well, what, you ain't said nothing about all this stuff? All the people leave our masjid and go to your masjid. Does that happen normally? Did you ask them any questions? Well, we love the Muslims. I said, well, did you come over to our masjid and ask me anything? Did anybody in Oakland, can you imagine all this stuff going on? Not one single Muslim asked me nothing. They all on Mukhtar's side, and Mukhtar used character assassination. And that ain't possible. Why? Because stealing money. I done came from D.C. and paid their taxes, $50,000. I'm the one that hires stuff to take away 3 dumpsters of garbage that they throw out there. I'm the one that paid the fines in Oakland, and I'm here. Right? I'm the one that paid the fines for years, and I'm here in Oakland. I mean, in D.C. They're in Oakland. We help them. There's nothing in recorded history of them bringing anything from D.C., from Oakland to here and helping us with anything. They ain't helped paint, they helped did nothing. They never helped bring no food. They never did nothing here. You've been gone, we've been here 23 years. I said, you ain't got one flyer. I'm talking to Mukhtar. I said, you show me one flyer. So the only flyers about the Oakland Masjid, and you know all the flyers I have. I said, I'm the only one that did anything. What are you talking about? You must be crazy. I'm going to wrap up. And one thing I want to COINTEL program, August 28, 1956. This is the one about Puerto Rican liberation, I think, yeah. What do they say? I'm going to just be brief and not read the whole thing. Disruption and discord, number 1. Number 2, creating doubts as to the wisdom of remaining in the independence movement, Puerto Rican movement. Number 3, causing defections from the independence movement. That's exactly, they know that I have this on my desk. So Mukhtar followed this prescription visibly so I could see and be clear on exactly what he's doing. He followed it. I mean, I have it on my desk all the time. He followed it to the letter just to show me that he can do that. And I was just so happy that he could do it. And he did it, the dummy. I'm not going to talk about this is black people, 68. Prevent the coalition of black movement, black nationalist groups in unity, you know, there's strength in all this. They could really become a Mau. Prevent the rise of the Messiah. Why are they talking about in religious terms in a secular movement? Prevent violence. Prevent militant black nationalist groups and leaders from gaining respectability by discrediting them to 3 separate segments of the community. The goal of discrediting black nationalists must be handled tactically. 3 ways. You must discredit those groups and individuals to first, the responsible Negro community. Second, they must be discredited to the white community, both the responsible community and to liberals who have vestiges of sympathy for militant black nationalists simply because they are Negroes. Third, these groups must be discredited in the eyes of Negro radicals. and follows of the movement. This last area requires entirely different tactics from the first two. Publicity about violent tendencies and radical statements merely enhance black nationalists. To the last group, it adds respectability in a different way. That means they got to, for us, they got to deal specifically. Number one, they have to keep us, it has to be a blackout from all of their media. Number two, all of them must get, the hand-picked Negroes must get carte blanche in all media. White folks media, Muslim media, all media, foreign media, all media. But they got to handle this special. This stuff, kind of Steve Emerson, Daniel Pipes, and the ADL, they had to pull that stuff. You know why? Because these dummies were saying, they would put a flyer that I wrote and put it in there as is. It sounded horrible to dumb white folks and dumb Jews. But think about it now, you got to remember, 15, 20% of the people read their thing as Muslims. Man, they gave me so much attention and respect. They were trying to follow, see, they went off on their own tangent, not following the FBI script. The FBI had to tell them, stop doing that. You ain't helping nothing. That's why all these people, they thought when they went down and they taped the program 9/9/2001. We had for Imam Jamil. We raised $100,000 that night. They was in there videoing it. They took that term, burn, baby, burn. And they had me saying that if you don't treat us right, if you don't give us our freedom and justice, we're gonna burn America down. I said those exact words. But I said in the 60s, they said. So now, here's Fox News and all these Zionists trying to get me a case with the FBI. Some of the Dan Krause, whatever his name, that wrote the article in the 2007 Washington Post.
Washington Post.
He was filling me in on it, because he was one of them too, but he said, yeah, they tried to pursue that, but we got the rest of the tape. And they were trying to say that you were inciting the terrorism. I said, I know the law. I know it in detail. It's all right for me to say George Bush is a crook, Hillary is a crook. All of them is crooked and low down and they ain't worth a dime. But I cannot say legally, since it's true, now you go down there and snatch their tongue out and you do this, that's inciting, right, riots, mayhem, all of that. So I go to prison for that. But the other, now remember all the justice stuff I got from, see, when I fought my case, I stayed in the law books. Remember, I'm quoting laws on conspiracy and all of that. And remember, they set me up to the point, I remember what I was reading a few weeks ago. The reason they set me up in LA is because they could tell that story in LA. They couldn't tell that in Oakland, right? They couldn't set me up in Oakland like that. Number one, the plane didn't come back from Mexico to Oakland, it came back to, but number two, they do now. But the most important thing is, if they would have told the people in Oakland, the most popular man in town, comes in from Mexico with package of heroin here, package of cocaine there, package of heroin there, package of heroin, it comes up to a whole lot when you get all these packages. And we discovered some 6 hours later in a garbage can. You can't tell nobody, wait, hold it. Because the rules of procedure is to search right away. Even if they put you in the car, they got to search that car, right? If you've ever been in there, they got to search that car. Because even if I'm handcuffed behind me, I can get my little dope out and I stuff it in the car, which some people say they've done it before. But, you know, it's a little harder to prove. What do you mean? I was handcuffed behind. One case I won. When the police busted me upside the head right here. The police said, yes, we hit him in the head. And then what did he do? He said he took his hands for a second and, you know, over the wound. Okay. So what did he look like when I had a beautiful blue suit on, blue shirt to go with it, I was shot. But the blue suit was, shirt was drenched with blood. So, how it happened, they found some dope stuffed in the back seat. Police said it was mine. I told them, the lawyer, I said, ask him, did it have any blood on it? Because he just said that I put my hands on the head. And if I put my hands on the head, you know what I mean? Then that's before I get handcuffed. You know what I mean? Because I can't put my hands on my head if I'm handcuffed behind me, that's for sure. So my hands got to be wet. This is all happening just like that. I beat that case just like that. But it was just a wonderful case. Because even when they tell the truth sometimes, it sounds like a lie, because it's talking about a poor brother. Okay. Targets. A final goal should be to prevent the long-range growth of militant black nationalist organizations, especially among the youth. Specific tactics to prevent these groups from converting young people must be developed. It's 1968. This is when the heroin epidemic hit. I'm just saying, these people, whether it's white folks, the new left, I'll just be brief. Preparation of leaflets designed to counteract the impression that SDS and other minority groups speak for the majority of students. Number 2, instigating of or taking advantage of personal conflicts. This is for the white folks, this is for the SDS, Students for a Democratic Society. But it's the same thing for niggas, writing all them notes and letters. Creating the impression that certain new left leaders are informants, putting a snitch jacket on good leaders. That's what Mukhtar was trying to do. He was trying to, they done busted me upside the head every time I go to jail, take my money, and give me the runaround over and over again. And he come to the Masjid with guns out, and the police protect them, but he's trying to put a snitch jacket on me. That is ridiculous in Oakland. That's ridiculous, child. They went farther than I ever thought they would. Same old stuff. Okay, there's a few more. We'll skip a lot of stuff they do. Infiltration. Agent informers did not merely spy on political activists. Their main purpose was to discredit and disrupt. That's infiltration. Psychological warfare from the outside. FBI and police use a myriad of dirty tricks, planted false media stories, misinformation, upset meetings, all of that. Harassment through the legal system. FBI, police abuse the legal system, giving you a case, fines, getting you kicked out of your house getting you kicked out of your office, you know what I mean, having the people that own the building close your office down. Extra legal force of violence, that means killing you. This learning from history. All of that we have to learn from history. This is history. Domestic covert operations. Harassment through psychological warfare. It's that same stuff we just talked about. False media stories. Here's a storyline that Abdul-Malik was trying to develop. I have here Elijah and Malcolm. The line that Abdul-Malik was trying to put forward was Malcolm X and Elijah Muhammad fell out. I'm Elijah Muhammad and he's Malcolm X. Oh no, that was it. He was working at it hard. I could tell that 10 years before when he was setting it up. Some of the foreigners came to me saying that because Abdul Malik told them the COINTEL program has worked because look what it's done. The big mush mouth Imam up there in New York said the COINTEL program worked because people was talking about Imam Siraj. I said, hell, he's snitching in the courtroom, pointing the finger at people. That ain't no COINTEL program, that's just a telling program. That's a cooperation telling. He's cooperating with the white folks and telling on the Muslims. So, there's many, I don't know if y'all ever heard of Jean Seberg. Jean Seberg was a white girl from France. They planted a story. She committed suicide. She was a big actress in those days. That she was pregnant by a Negro. And she committed suicide. But these people don't care much about for human life. They're real dirty. But it's not bragging. We stick our feet, F-E-E-T-S, not foot, feet, and they behind, as often as we want. It's not in their hands anymore. I'm saying this because I am getting ready to go out to Oakland finally. And those people are clowns out there. I don't care what they do. We're going to benefit from it. If they leave us alone, we're going to benefit. If they come against us, it's actually, they should study. We're going to work even harder. But the main thing we're going to do is we're going to do our program, not their program. They can't do anything to shift our direction. So, now I close with these. How to learn in public. What we're doing right now, we're teaching about what happened, but we're learning in public. This stage right now prepares the groundwork for the big one. Each stage is basically similar, but each one has evolved a little bit. So we wanted to embarrass the FBI, embarrass OPD, embarrass Homeland Security, and show how vulnerable the federal officials were. The federal government don't look that strong when it messes with us. Tell the truth. I mean, when they mess with us, they don't look that devastating. When they mess with everybody else, they don't let people, when they mess with us, you know, when they had them laughing things, you know, when the Negro copied the movies, and if something funny happened, you can hear all that in the back. That's the way it is when the white man messed with us. In the background, everybody started laughing. Don't nobody start crying or, oh, they sad. They was at first, oh, they did this. I said, don't worry about that. That ain't nothing. I'll tell you what's going on there. But they killed your son and they tried to kill your son. I said, I'll tell you about that later. We talked about it here. My sons are my sons. And my grandson, I didn't see him, I told him to hold up till I get there. First thing I was going to put was some smelling salts under his ear, pepper on it, and see if he sneezes. I'll tell you the rest of the story. I didn't see him go in the ground. And the people around him, they were the biggest snitches in the area. So, and I know when he started cooperating with Mukhtar. I already know when. Yeah, and I know when everybody else. Remember people's sons out here went out there. What the hell are they going out to California to hang around like that? What the hell is going on around here? Right? Yeah, they must be stupid. If he is dead, they sure helped kill him. Them, all of them that I just mentioned. The ones from here and the ones out there. But, anyway, institution building. That comes from 10 years ago. Institutions building. But did you see us working hard trying to build institutions there? Absolutely not. That's what clowning people is. Age regression. This is a big deal. Now I know that I don't look like it, but I feel like it. Age regression. When I was 69, I felt kind of like 69. I'm 71. I feel like 60 and going backwards. May not look like it, but I'm telling you, you tell how I work. You notice the concrete? Okay. How you work, look on your face, that give you an idea. Yeah.
Same thing Don said. Don said he feel he about 35.
Well, see, age regression is when, this is a big deal. If the white man and the Negroes prolonged, say the last 35 years, just say 35 years, a little more here. Okay. The trick is this. That 35 years was for training and stability and everything. Now I believe that Allah gonna put that 35 on the other end. This is what I believe. And if I die tomorrow, I still believe it, and it's the same big smile. If I die at 72, same big smile. I just missed a few 30 years here and there and didn't get there, but I think I'm going to get there. This is what makes a white man, man. If you think it, see, that's why you try to shift there to get them. That's why you try to fool us to get us thinking. That's what psychological warfare is. You get you to thinking he's this and he's that. But if you think he's a fool, you know what? He's going to act like a fool. That's because he believes it. This nigga thinks I'm a fool. And before he's going to go right out around the door and find the foolishest thing he can do. The most incoherent thing he can do. Because they believe it. They believe that. That's why they spent all of this time. You wouldn't be here. Trying to get us to change our mind, to try to get us thinking negative and afraid and everything. That's why we left the door open, because they come around and they send crazy people around to make you want to lock the masjid. Right? Well, I do that for a week just to see if that's what they wanted. But today, we're back to opening it up. Why? Because we've always done that. We don't care if no crazy people come in here, but they want us to react. So they say, you know, the crazy lady and all that. Mm-hmm. She acts crazy. She is crazy. And can't remember what she's trying to say. She's crazy even if she ain't crazy. This is what I'm trying to say. It's a riddle, but it's true. So, yes.
Like you said they did Marcus Garvey. And you said they did Marcus Garvey. You said they showed him an article in the paper that he had died.
Right.
Remember you said it shook him up so bad, next thing you know, that's what happened.
You remember Marcus Garvey?
Yeah.
Did they say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the movie.
Yeah, they said, they trying to use, see, That's why we're so far ahead. See, look, we done studied everybody. The stuff, remember when Garvey went back to
Jamaica,
and the little kids would follow him and make fun of him?
mm-hmm.
When I went to Algeria again, I went to Tanzania, I visited a lot of Africa, but I talked to one of my friends who's big in the movement, but evidently he's kind of a tattletale too. Because he was telling me, yeah, you over in Colombia, are they kind of like Mexicans? I said, yeah, they're kind of like Mexicans. I hate Mexicans, and I said, no man, I love Colombians. I love it in Colombia. You know the first thing happened when I got back to Colombia? Instead of the kids following me and now they got a crew of them teasing. And I thought about that. I said, this is strange. But I never stopped liking Colombian people. They was trying to make me feel uncomfortable in Colombia because they didn't want me in Colombia no more. I done got the game on Colombia. Then on the same flight, British Airways, whatever they call it, yeah, SBA. They got one of the prettiest white girls you ever seen, sitting right next to me. And so we made one stop in one of the big islands down there. Then we went to Colombia in the plane. We stopped in Bogota. That's where I got off. Then we went. It was Indonesian on there. They're sitting right here. I'm sitting. The white girl is sitting in the middle. I'm sitting at the window. And Indonesia, this is when they got the Malaccan terrorists. I don't think you remember 72. They had the Japanese Red Army. They got Baader-Meinhof gang in France, Germany. They got Malaccan terrorists. Those are people, that's all the bombings going on in Indonesia and all that. So this guy is Indonesian, and probably a Christian, and he's drunk as he can be. So the stewardess said, poor white girl, would you like for me to change your seat? She said, no. This is my man here. This is she didn't say that, but she's saying in her behavior, I'm sitting here because this nigga is sitting here. So we just getting friendly as we can be. And she's giving a sales pitch. She's taking out all the stops like, oh, I've been going with a Paki boy, that's a Pakistani. And that's let me know that she don't have no racial stuff and all of that.
She down.
Yeah, so anyway, and she's a little uncomfortable because she gets off the plane and she stumbles a couple of times. Maybe it's the air did it, but she finally gets her feet. When we left the islands, next stop was Colombia. What they want me to do is stay on the plane and go to Peru. Because they know I travel light, I don't have to be in no one place. So I'm getting ready to get off the plane, the police up there, it must seem like the police, he says, seems like you've made a good impression on her, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So, yeah. So what? I'm not going to follow no white girl off the plane. I mean, stay on the plane with the white girl and go to Peru, wherever she was going. Because the white folks want me to be there instead of in Colombia. What I'm trying to say is, whether it was Marcus Garvey, psychological warfare, Marcus Garvey is dead. They try to put stuff like in your own mind. I say, y'all are stupid. You can't put that in my mind. You bunch of weak idiots. You better watch out or I'm going to, you know, that hypnotize you crackers. Which technically we do. We We hypnotize them crackers. We use voodoo, everything on them crackers. And they don't, but since they don't know how it works, they don't know what you learn in Africa. The people believe it. Now, if you believe the stuff works, I'm telling you, if they call it witch doctor, if he put a spell on your behind, you jinxed. If you believe it. You don't have to know he put a spell. If you believe in it, he know what to do to cross your behind up.
It's like the shaitan.
Yeah.
All he do is suggest, but if you believe what he say?
The other thing is, what's Mu'adh about the two last surahs?
Protection flow.
Robin Flock, Robin Nice. It's real. It's real, especially if you believe it. If you don't believe it, I don't care nothing about y'all. Bump y'all, a bunch of sissies. They ain't gonna work. But if you believe in the magic spell of the white man, he'll cross you up every time. Okay, I'm gonna go on and move quickly. Age regression. Listen to your body. How much, what kind? Workouts produce the best results. In other words, like you have to listen to your mind, you have to also listen to your body. Like for instance, that concrete work, okay? So I want to do the concrete work. I have to know what, so when do I do it? Do I going to do it last month? I had plenty of time. Heck no, it's too hot. It's too hot. Yeah, so I ain't going to do it. But just when it gets right, I'll do it. Then I can work all day and not be tired. So actually, I work better than I did when I made the other thing 3, 4, 5 years ago. That's concrete. But you could tell how you work. This stuff is really, I could tell the shovels, how many, I could tell, okay. When I said I'm having age regression, I am. I know, I'm listening to my body. It says, yes. You may be tricking yourself, but you sure feel younger. And it shows in how you do it at work. When you used to do how many loads, how did you feel? Now you do the same amount of loads. How much? And plus, how do you plan? Well, I do this section today, that section tomorrow, that section. Believe it or not, the last load, it was getting better. Do you see how close that load, you know, do you know what I did to make it exactly right? I went around with my hands in the thing and got a few hands full of scraping on the side and smooth. That means you get to where you can plan how much concrete and everything and how many spoons full or whatever, shovels, all of that. That means you're getting better. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. Anyway, I'm just trying to speed up. Provoke not only us. Remember I said that, and I told a sister yesterday too, maybe they put me back on, maybe they make sure I don't get to tell nobody for them. But I was saying this stage is being handed to the Shia community. The global Islamic revival. I didn't give time to tell them how. But evidently they not think about it, only that one talking about it is a rahbar. They're looking at things that's happening as bad, but they're acting like it's good. You saw Karbala the other day. Now that's not Arba'in. That's just Ashur. And it was in the millions, almost double last year. That's Arba'in. Now Arba'in, that means the Shia community is ready. And the Shias are not the fall guys like before. Remember Shias, how bad they was? Shias are not bad. Who's bad now? Saudis. Even the government want to sue them. The white folks want to sue the Saudis, not the Iranians. So, they're provoking violence in Yemen, Nigeria, Bahrain, Syria, Iraq, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and everywhere, but they failed here. Who was they trying to provoke violence with? Us. That's what they, once violence gets started, they said, we don't know what started. This is, so we had to shoot him because he did something violent. Okay, we don't have to go there. In closing, for only the fourth time, historical resistance training, but historical resistance action. We're training and fighting at the same time. Voice of resistance in the USA. That's what the learning in public means. Learning in public means that while we're giving this lecture, we're learning too. While we was doing what we did the last few years, learning in public. Was we prepared for it? Of course. We said this is the best time. So if you want adventure, if you want suspense, if you want drama, join the great Islamic movement in North America, which is us. The real last thing is we're going to start raising millions because we need millions for institution building. We'll have to hire people at first. It'll be job description instead of, because we have to have, this would be institution. Institutions are not here and there, and maybe institutions is, that's why I was reviewing this urgent appeal. We got all the stuff, we got everything's already ready. We just pop it right in, get ready to go. The last thing I want to show you is one of the pictures that I like. This is from 1980, 1981, the Gulf War. I mean the Iran-Iraq War. This is a young guy. You can see the rifle is bolt action, so he's a sniper. This is called Musa. This is one of the Iranian guys. I don't know, maybe he's, I don't know if you can see as well as I do. Maybe he's 15 to 17, but not a day over 17. You can see the leg of a person in front of him, you know. But Musa was right near the Tigris and Euphrates. It's a lot of swamp. I mean, miles and miles, almost like a country. If you were to go back 2 or 3 centuries, the black people that they brought from Africa to be slaves in Persia and Iraq retreated to those swamps 200-300 years ago. This is a famous area. But you can see the determination, man. He's not a day over 16. You think so? The guy. But you can see the determination. And it says, you have changed history. Our nation has made history. So the people then knew what they was doing. The diplomats now, the Rahbar knows, supreme leader, and many people with him. But a lot of people want to sell the victory and the mission of revival of Islam. Okay, in America, that's our same mission. And we've been trained for this fight. That's why it's not hard, because we've been trained for it. So in the United States, we're going to do our mission. The only thing is how. We're going to do it mediocre. We're going to do a good job. We're going to try to do the best job we can. Because it's a great blessing. It's not a trauma, it's a blessing. So, we wanted to say, the last thing we want to say, this is definitely the last thing. The people that see these videos, we want you to tell your friends, especially there in Oakland or anywhere else technically in the world. Because we're in a big struggle, and wherever you are, we're going to be coming through there soon. And we're going to be trying to raise $1 million. So 2017, And until we raise that 1 million, we're going to be working all along. We're going to be building, but we want to have that amount of money because within 10 years we want to be a $150 million organization. And therefore, not because we want $150 million, but because we want to be on that scale of activity ourselves. So, this is the official start of this last few months. So tell your friends, the next thing to tell them too is this, that Imam Musa has stuck to the original goals of the revolution. Most people haven't. The line of Imam is still the order of the day. Concept of Vilayati Faqih is the way to go. The diplomats who don't believe it, very good friends of mine, but they've tried to shift to economy and diplomacy. And anybody that wants to survive knows there's certain rules. The main rule is never change or give up the principle which you stand on. The pillar that you're standing on, you don't cut that down. The pillar of global revolution, global transition, global transformation is happening right before our eyes. Anybody that can't see that, they're basically short-sighted. We won't say blind. And as far as the line of Imam, it's been justified and verified in the news and in history. The Rahbar is fulfilling that obligation. And he's grown in stature, and that's who he is. Technically, that's our leadership. I mean mine, I don't mean nobody else's. I'm talking about mine, personally. That has nothing to do with mother. Let's get it straight. I don't have a mother. Don't try to come around telling me that I need one. I can take all the fiqh of every legal group, and I can take any part of that and blend it together in any mix I want, whether you like it or not. And I've been doing it all along, and I don't care whether you like it or not. But we support Ayatollah Khamenei. He is the Rahbar. He's already arrived. He's dealing with a lot of diplomats and funny acting big shots. They don't want to fulfill the obligation of Vilayati Faqih, the global Islamic revolution. They forgot what we was praying for. Magbag America exported a revolution. Magbag America, debt to America. America is dead. Everybody's laughing at it. It's the brokest country in world history. So it's finished. That don't mean it just crumbles and falls to the ground, no. But its power, its prestige is gone. It can only cause trouble. We want you guys and gals, sisters, to empty your purses of all of that money that you've been hoarding up for no reason and help your dear brother. You see this look on my face? Remember when we were struggling in the 80s and we had no friends? Your dear brother was right there with you. No matter what the other niggas say, the poor Imam lost all of his friends. Arabs, niggas, everybody, for the cause, and didn't lose 1 hour's sleep. So you know ain't nothing happening now, except struggle. So I want y'all to raise whatever you can raise, a few $100,000 here, a few $100,000 there. and make sure you get it to the brother in cash is preferred. Now, we're going to fight the revolution anyway. And I hate to tell you this, but we're going to win. Why? We're already winning. We ain't lost the battle yet with no help from nobody. So imagine if we get hold to a little money, what we going to do? Last thing, any slander is a lie. We ain't never messed with no girls or boys or nobody else. Now, all you foreigners got to remember, think about this. Did I ever blanket any sister or anything in the last 35 years? Negroes, the sisters in Oakland said Imam knows you by your feet talking about the sisters because he never looks at you. That's all. They was tenders then. You know, I was over 40 years old and they was in their 20s, early 30s, so they was tenders. I never looked at them, looked at their feet. That's what they said. You ask Jamila and all the sisters out there, Sister Bahia and them, they all know. They say Imam knows the sisters by their feet. Now, Abdul-Malik is different. He chased down every bit of a vagina he can and don't do nothing. He ought to leave the girls alone. If he was doing something to them, they would say, this boy's taking care of business. He can't be taking care of too much business because ain't nobody said nothing. And just for being a dirty little rat, Haile Berry broke his heart so bad, I'm the brother helped her. The evil Imam helped patch him up. That boy was standing at the wall with slob running out of his mouth. Now, y'all in Oakland know I was telling the truth. You can't lie. Hurt him so bad that he went and made a betrothal to a little girl. She must have been, at that time, when he got his heart broke, about 14 or 15, because he waited 3 years to marry her when she was 17, 18. That's how bad his heart was broken. Started wearing a goatee and trying to look young. You know how an old nigga, 50 years old, something, started trying to look hip and young. This man went crazy.
Old man tricks.
Yeah, the man that went crazy. You don't have none of that in my history. The dear Imam, ethics is up to par. Now I know I'm not running for politics, but I have to speak for myself. Because them clowns out there was challenging me on an ethical basis. Mukhtar was talking about ethics. You, the believers' money. And I done pulled them $200,000, $300,000 out of the basement. And they talk about ethics of money. And give khutbahs here about how much money we got. When we help people, like one of our friends ran into financial difficulty, we said, well, we had $50,000 in the bank and we had been saving him since ancient times, $25,000. But he have a lifestyle at $25,000 to him is not like $25,000 to us. It lasts us like 15 or 20 years because we don't spend no money hardly. But for him, $25,000, that was gone. I said, well, we got another $25,000 that help. He said, sure. But you know, we only repay him the favor. When he was in the money, we say, get a Nike shoes, something other, you know, $25,000 check. He said, here, this is Nike. I signed off for you, thank you very much. Somebody else did something. $25,000. We wanted to buy this house. No, that one over there. I said, man, we only paid $35,000 for it. $34,000. That's pretty good. So I said, hey man, trying to buy a house next door. I called two people. One is a foreigner friend of ours. One I told I had 20,000. No, I said I need 15,000. That's the one. The other one I said I need 20,000. So all our brother asked me was, how much do you need? I said, 20 grand. Next day, the check come overnight, 20,000. The other brother, the check come the next day too, 15,000. So when he gets in trouble, we didn't do like them phony Shiite niggas. You know them niggas. Hung around with him, lived with him, stole his money and everything. We talked about it here, what they was doing. Right? I mean, we already knew what they was doing. When he got in financial difficulty, them niggas don't mention his name. They're low down and they rotten to the core. So, ethics, we had $50,581. I have I showed it to everybody in Juma. Y'all might remember I showed it, that $581. I said, this is the brokest we've ever been. We didn't stay broke long. But we gave that money away. And now here's the nigga Mukhtar that ain't never helped nobody do nothing but cause trouble and a destroyer, says that we, Honest Musa, you know they had Honest Abe. I don't know how honest he was. But Honest Musa, the honestest Imam in the United States. I know you lose not credibility, but you lose blessings by saying that. But I have to say it because nobody's saying it. So I'm saying it in front of an audience that remembers half of the stuff that I'm saying. You know, like say y'all hear half of the stuff I'm saying, you can remember half of it, maybe most of it. So anyway, we want y'all to remember, form them groups from 3 to 5. Leaderless resistance. We're going to need y'all in a few years because the big one is coming. This is big stuff here. This stuff is, we don't know whether it's a year away, 5 years away, but it's soon. If it ain't the last one, it'll be so big that you'll think it's all. It's going to be big. We're preparing now. So thank you very much. You can't raise too much to help us and make dua for us. As-salamu alaykum.